Working out. Oh, no. And I like that stage.
It's good, right?
Blue badges. Some of them.
I told the advisor, but there's also some competition.
I know, because I see they're there, but I haven't been speaking, which is why I put the second advisor. You got it? Also, I think we're good. It'd be really funny. Like, she made it. Just in time.
shady. You ready, babe? I was like, there was no other cars there. And I thought, all right. I watched the video, but I don't have much storage on my video. Do you have a Sorry.
Baby! Yeah, guys.
My name is Wade Bradford, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the graduation ceremony of the Morse High School class of 2021. At this point, I would like to invite fellow class members Gabe Croto, Caitlin Bradford, Kaylee Keenan, Paul Tuttle, and Thomas Reed to come up and lead us in the singing of the National Anthem. Please excuse my classmates as they are unable to remove their caps. This year, our school community lost a beloved staff member. Miss Westlake was an incredibly warm individual who loved each and every student. She greeted students and staff alike each morning with a contagious smile. Please join me in a moment of silence in honor of Mrs. Westlake. Thank you. If you told me, when I walked through the doors of 826 High Street on my first day of freshman year, that my class and I would be graduating on McMahon Field, I would have said, duh, that's kind of how it is. If you had told me that this class would be graduating here a year ago, I would have been shocked. It is a great privilege to be on this field today, celebrating the hard work, dedication, and most importantly, the perseverance of the Morse High School class of 2021. But I don't have to tell you how simply incredible this class has become. As friends and family, you have been eyewitness to the tenacity of this group. In an unpredictable year, layered with decisions left out of our hands, the students you're observing today have maintained an improbable optimism through extenuating circumstances. Furthermore, the graduates seating before you have established an impressive level of diligence, despite what some questionable authorities may tell you. Without that diligence, we wouldn't have walked the halls of 826 Shipbuilder Drive. We wouldn't have performed in our final 1X. We wouldn't have had our athletic senior nights. But most importantly, we wouldn't be gathered here in celebration on this beautiful day. Though I must admit, we have not always been that way. I know you've borne witness to the development of each and every one of us, but I cannot leave this stage without highlighting the maturity that now envelops the class of 2021. I'd be lying if I said we were a cohesive unit. I'd be lying if I told you we all got along. I would certainly be lying if I told you marching practice was a walk in the park. But 3 years ago, many of us were reluctant to put aside our differences for a greater purpose. Today, those same individuals who would shamelessly exchange callous remarks in the hallways can now work together to ensure projects like today happen. Some would say that was the purpose of high school, to prepare us to work together in the real world. But I would tell you that is simply a byproduct of a remarkable class growing as one. Thank you.
I began writing this on my 18th birthday. For me, birthdays have always been a time to reflect on the past year and set goals for the future. I get very nostalgic around my birthday, and turning 18 was no exception. I went over the story of my life in my head, reflecting on the 18 years up until now. This led me to remember one moment, 3 years ago, in which I felt entirely lost. I was taking my English final freshman year. It was my last final, so I was in the home stretch. Mrs. Stanton told the class, "You can leave whenever you're done." I finished the test, passed it in, and stood there. I had heard what she said. I just couldn't fathom that after all my hard work, I was done, at least for the summer. I slowly walked out of the room in a daze and roamed the empty halls. I was hit with an immense feeling of emptiness. As you can probably guess, this is how I'm feeling now, with college and adult responsibilities fast approaching. I mentioned to my mother on my birthday that I didn't feel ready to graduate. I didn't even feel like a real adult. She said to me, "Well, now's the time to sink or swim, kiddo." For those of you who do not know, about a year and a half ago, I got a concussion. I was accidentally kicked in the head at cheer practice, and from there on, my whole life changed. I was bedridden in my room for months with constant headaches. I couldn't read. I had to go to physical therapy to get my balance back. I went to vision therapy in Portland every week to strengthen my eye muscles because my eyes had gone crooked. I was confined to my dark bedroom because it hurt too much to go into the light. I barely left the house. I fell behind in my schoolwork, something I had never done before. My personality changed. My mental health was rapidly deteriorating. I fell into a deep depression, my sole companion being my cat, because he was the only thing that could tolerate the constant darkness and sadness around me. I felt like I was sinking. Despite all of the negative aspects of the concussion, I wouldn't change a thing. Of course, it would have been better if I hadn't been concussed, but I learned my true strength in those moments. I am proud of myself for my success. I am proud to be on the stage today in front of you all. When I think about the future, I know I will swim rather than sink because I have already gone through difficult times. I was swimming back then, and I will be swimming in the future. I would not be up here today without the support of my family and friends. I have confidence I will succeed in whatever I do because my father taught me the value of hard work. My mother taught me compassion. My sister taught me to laugh often. My friends taught me that good people will always support you. My grandmothers taught me to stand up for what I believe in, and my grandfathers taught me to not always take things so seriously. I have been given these gifts by the people closest to me. All of you here have been given gifts by the people closest to you. These will be your life rafts when you feel you cannot swim. We truly have been set up to succeed, whether we realize it or not. My roots run deep in this community. I am a direct descendant of Charles W. Morse, the Ice King, for whom the school is named. I am the 4th generation to attend Morse. My great-grandfather had pride for this wonderful school, and I know he would be proud to see me here. I remember my grandmother singing me the fight song before I even entered middle school. My grandfather told me of the history and strength of the Alumni Association. I was raised in this wonderful community, attending the annual parades downtown, watching the alumni floats pass by, decked out in blue and white. I attended pep rallies in the old pit, with school spirit practically radiating off the walls. I can say, for certain, that I bleed blue and white. As scary as it is, leaving behind the halls we've known for 4 years, I believe in us. I have seen you all grow over the years into young people capable of taking on the world. Now is the time to, as my mother so aptly put it, sink or swim. I have no doubt we will all swim, even though it will be to different destinations. Congratulations to the class of 2021, you've earned it.
Hello. I must admit, I had some trouble figuring out what I was going to say today. Last Saturday, I had several speeches drafted. None of them were any good. So, my dad gave me 1 hour to come up with a compelling speech. Otherwise, I wasn't going to do it. So, I wrote the 3 reasons speech. I would like to thank everyone for attending graduation today, including the parents, faculty, and hopefully not the COVID. From what I've heard, we're about to embark on a journey like no other. Apparently, I will be moving to a dorm room full of people my own age. It sounds like high school times 10. There are many things we accomplished over the past 4 years. So many new things we have learned. Whether going to college or jumping straight into the workforce, each have experienced the unique culture at Morse High School, an education that will help us feel confident in our ability to answer life's biggest questions, such as, what am I going to do with my life? COVID certainly has impacted our vision for the future, but every challenge brings opportunity to overcome our greatest fears. Some question the validity of our education system today, but I'm going to spend the next few minutes explaining 3 reasons why this class is well prepared to head forward to the next stage in life. Reason number 1, we have overcome challenges. I'd like to start off by asking a question. Can you imagine what it's like to be a high school senior today? Class of 2021 is the pandemic generation. We were born during SARS, lived through swine flu, and crowned with COVID on graduation day. It seems likely that we've received more inoculations, immunizations, and vaccinations than anyone in the history of mankind. We lived through the financial crisis in 2008, where people lost their jobs and homes. Smartphones suddenly appeared everywhere, recording our vital signs to Big Brother, big data. Social media is an antenna broadcasting our thoughts into the ether before we're even finished thinking. None of these challenges are going to leave. So just imagine what it's like to be a graduating high school senior today. I guarantee none of your parents would want to switch places. Reason number 2, the challenges we face have strengthened us. Even before COVID, some of us had trouble finding the will to study a history textbook or read that English book we had a test on the following day. And if you don't see how that's a hardship, let me ask again. Can you imagine what it's like to be a graduating high school senior at Morse? Discipline is persevering in the face of discomfort as if you love it. We will have to overcome the challenges that we're facing because there is no one else to do it for us. And through our struggle, we will become strong and make incremental improvements to our circumstance. Reason number 3, this class is industrious. The last and most important reason this class is ready to take on the world is because we are scrapping. Despite our challenges, we move forward with grit and determination. Our new school was designed to build skills. We have studied welding, carpentry, electrical, culinary, and childcare. They are the soul of Morse High School and also help us in the midst of this labor shortage. Many of those who are going to college are staying or returning to Maine, the way life should be. Some of my oldest friends are choosing to work this year. Surely, our sense of industry is a reflection of Bath, Maine, the city of ships. Can you imagine what it's like to be a member of the graduating class of Morse High School 2021? If you're having a hard time imagining what it's like, don't worry. We know what it's like to be made famous for crossing the line. We are familiar with the challenges of our generation. And in a few minutes, we will know exactly what it's like to be a graduating member of the Morse High School class of 2021. Thank you.
Wow, it's been a while since we've had a gathering this large. And to think all these people are watching us graduate today. After all this time, we had to prepare to look our best. And we're wearing robes. What an outfit, the graduation cap and gown. I'll probably save mine for Halloween. Even without these identical outfits, I'm having a hard time recognizing a lot of the graduates today. We haven't seen the two halves of our class together in over a year. We became Cohort A and Cohort B. What a word they picked, cohort. If anything, it would have been great to pick some more playful vocabulary to perk us up this year. We could have been Pack A and Patrol B. We could have voted on mascots for our groups. The Monday, Thursday Moose, the Tuesday, Friday Turtles. But we'll just be remembered as the cohorts. I'm glad the other cohort is here. You guys could have all dropped out and I wouldn't have even known. But you stuck it out and made it to graduation because we needed graduation as our way out. Today, we're coming together for the first time in over a year, only to part ways again. In the coming year, each of us will find our way out. We'll disperse into the world beyond high school. What might we call this mass movement? A trek? Migration? Relocation? Actually, any of us who took 9th grade world history with Mr. Foster should know a perfect word for this mass movement we're about to experience. It was a class period back in 2017, back at our beloved 826 High Street building. The room was probably 90 degrees. There's probably the sound of a siren passing by. It was lecture day in 9th grade world history. Our young selves would sit down with a sheet of paper from the classroom to take notes on, because how many freshmen would actually use a notebook? Whether or not you have an interest in history, Mr. Foster always has a way to make class exciting. And so, when Mr. Foster first introduced the Book of Exodus in our World Religions unit, I might as well have been daydreaming about running through the meadows, until Mr. Foster himself ran across the room, hit play on a speaker, and let Bob Marley and the Wailers sing Exodus to our class. By that point, it became clear to our developing brains that an exodus is a movement of Ja people. Greek roots define exodus as the way out. Shout out to Mrs. Stan for teaching us that one. And so today's graduation marks the exodus of the class of 2021. We've earned our way out, not out from Morse High School, but rather out to the world as Morse High School graduates. The class of 2021 will make great use of their way out. We'll have people going on to study to become doctors, builders, scientists, engineers, fishermen and women, even a renowned swimmer. But none of this is possible without the exodus that will commence once we receive our diplomas. So to the graduates, to whom I've passed on the knowledge of both Bob Marley and Mr. Foster, join your class in finding a way out to the world. A unique way out, one that makes you excited. Congrats on reaching the exodus. And real quick, I want to mention this cool story that I have about on my cap. So I have this sticker on my cap, and if you know me, I kind of stick this on everything. And it says Ski the East on it. And so I have the same sticker on my car. And when I was parked on Front Street in downtown Bath the other day, this lady came running up to my car with a big smile on her face. And she said, that sticker, that's my son's brand. And she went on talking to me, and she said, yeah, her son was born and raised here in Bath. And he's a graduate of Morse High School back in 2000. His name is Chris James, but he's better known as Rooster, I guess. And so I'm sharing this story. I know skiing isn't relatable to pretty much everyone here, But I'm sharing this story because we can all go out into the world and do some really big things and create some really big, like, popular things. And not even as Morse High School graduates, but especially as Morse High School graduates. So, yeah, that's just my little piece. And then, last thing, per the rules of a bet, I have to give a shout out to Isaac Sinclair for eating the biggest breakfast I've ever seen this morning.
I never expected to spend my senior year at Morse High School. I spent my first 3 years of high school at another high school. And like most high school kids, I fully expected that I would graduate at the same school from where I started. I left an environment where I had grown reasonably comfortable. I knew the students and teachers, and they knew me. I had established sports teams, and I knew my way around, both physically and socially. I had done reasonably well. But 1 month into my senior year, I was thrown out of balance and into complete discomfort. I didn't know any of the students or teachers, and I no longer had my teammates. And for the life of me, I couldn't navigate around the maze of hallways at the old 826. I felt lost in every way. But had I not come to Morse when I did, I would not have had the experiences that led me to develop greater confidence, take the risk of enrolling in a challenging math class, and play on the varsity lacrosse team. By nature, I'm a shy person. I'm never the guy jumping across the room to go meet someone. And because people knew me after 3 years at my old school, I really didn't have to. I was pretty comfortable in that way, but that changed when I came to Morse. No one knew me, and I didn't know them. To make matters more difficult, I kept mixing people up, and sometimes not recognizing them because of the masks that covered their face. I had no choice but to force myself out of my naturally shy comfort zone. I had to introduce myself to people. I had to seek out faculty members to help with navigating around classes as well as the college process. And I had to be the one to initiate conversations. All of this was difficult and often overwhelming to me. And none of this would have happened if I had stayed in the comfort of my old school. But in my discomfort, I suddenly noticed that I was getting better at all of it. I realized that I was becoming stronger and more confident. When I found out 1 month into my school year that I was changing schools, I felt really out of balance. I think this loss of balance and discomfort led me to make a split decision that I would never have even contemplated making at my own school. I took calculus instead of statistics. I thought, well, everything else is upside down. I might as well go all the way. Math is not something that comes naturally to me. I have to really work at it. Statistics class would have been challenging for me all by itself. So I couldn't believe that I was taking a class that would be even more challenging for me. It was because I was seeing everything as being overwhelming at that moment that I felt I had nothing to lose. I never would have made that choice when I was comfortable. I decided to take the challenge and really push myself. And I'm so glad I did because, while none of it was easy, I felt like I held my own. I never would have had that sense of accomplishment had I stayed at my place of comfort. Perhaps one of the most exciting experiences I had here was being a member of the varsity lacrosse team. I've never played lacrosse before, and I certainly would never have played at my old school. But I was feeling much more confident, and it's one of the best risks I ever took. I had a mixture of intimidation and awe at the players with helmets tilted so low I couldn't see their eyes. And I was uncomfortable knowing that I really didn't have any business standing on the sidelines of a JV game, much less playing in a varsity game. But this year there wasn't a JV team, so I found myself in the varsity team. Extensive injuries to some of my teammates allowed for the fact that I got to play and sometimes even start. My parents could not get over the fact that they were driving to see me on game days, and it was clear that I needed a lot of improvement, which was no surprise, as I had never touched a lac stick before my first day of practice. But I had already learned from my year of discomfort that if I worked hard, I'd get stronger and better, and I did. A huge reward for this risk was that I had the great privilege of playing in a playoff game this past Monday with the best teammates I could have asked for, and for the best coaches I've ever worked with. It was a close game that sadly ended in a loss in the last 30 seconds. As crushing and devastating as it was to lose like that, the season as a whole was a huge win for me. Had I stayed in my place of comfort, I never would have taken such a risk, and therefore would never have experienced such a reward, and one that I'll never forget. Looking back at my start at Morse High School, I can remember my feelings of dread, unbalance, and complete discomfort. While coming to Morse may not have been under my control, what I did here was, and I've benefited in countless ways that I could never have expected. I'm far more comfortable with my being uncomfortable, and I've adapted to change, and I'm more confident in new situations. Next year, all of us are going to be starting over, and all of us will probably be uncomfortable. However, I can say with certainty that it's okay, because through the discomfort comes really good things.
All of you before me today probably recognize me as the guy who swims. Most of you would probably say something along the lines of something stupid or easy. I would say to those people, give it a shot sometime. Still, some of you may have once wondered why. What possesses a person to splash around in a pool up to 10 times a week, stare at a back line for hours, pushing past failure, and throw up into a bucket while crying and shaking from exertion, all to come back the next day with a smile on their face, ready to work just as hard. Some would say this is insane and probably shouldn't be done. I say, it's just life. When I was younger, I did many sports. Baseball, basketball, soccer. While they were fun and all, I realized swimming was my favorite and one I seemed to be the best at. Now that I'm older, I have a better understanding of why this was. In swimming, it's all on you. If you want to get faster, make that cut time, or final in an event, the only factor you have to worry about is yourself. There's no teammates, you also have to perform well, and there aren't any opponents you have to worry about slide tackling you from behind before shooting. All it comes down to is you. My coaches, Jay and Sponge, would often remind us of this fact before practice, saying that at the end of the season, the stopwatch doesn't lie. The only way to increase your chances of doing well is by training as hard as possible all the time. It's this compelling fact I clung on to and sought out to see if it was true. Every day I would do my best, and every day I would be surprised to find I could do a little more than I thought feasible. This lit the spark within me and pushed me towards it. It. See, as an 11-year-old child, I didn't know what it was. All I knew was that someone told me to work hard and good things would happen, and so I did. Soon, my same life swim coaches came to the rescue. They informed me of the importance of having goals, stating that a goal was something more than a want or desire. It is a thing you're willing to work incredibly hard for and give other parts of your life in order to achieve. With this in mind, I applied it to all walks of my life, including swimming. I found this to be very important. Now, when I was dying in the water, neck deep in some gruesome short interval sprint set, I could think of these goals. Just the thought of them would give me the extra push to keep going and not give another thought to the excruciating pain it felt. It wasn't just in the water. Whenever I got demoralized or drawn off course by this or that, they were there to remind me of why I started. My body really wanted to take that rest day. The thought of standing on the podium holding that gold medal would pull me back. I wanted to eat that crappy food sitting in front of me. The thought of touching the wall and seeing my goal time on the board would force me to turn to the healthy option. It was inconceivable to do something that might inhibit me from attaining my goals. My biggest fear was, in the end, to come so close to making my dreams a reality. It was one of those small things that most people would think are insignificant that would have made all the difference. Most of you are probably now thinking, how does this help anyone in the real world? Not everyone's a swimmer, and even fewer want their bodies to feel such discomfort. You may not see it at first, but the events just described are exactly the same as the purpose of life. You first need to find that thing that you're best at doing and get pleasure from performing. Some people would be quick to tell you they're rubbish at everything. This simply is not true. Everyone has that task, that job, that they, with their unique set of genetic traits, are best suited for. You now need to set goals that inspire and excite you to get up every morning. While some need to be small in order to not get discouraged, the primary goal should always be striving to be the best. For what is the point of life if you don't strive to be the greatest at something? Who wants to be the 1,000th, 100th, or even second best at anything? No one. It is fundamental to think this way in order to not get in order to never become complacent at a lesser point than your true potential. With your goals in line, it's now time for the fun part, the work. You have to enjoy the process. To reach the toughest goals, a relentless grind has to be administered with constant ferocity. And when times get hard, your building block of goals are there to regalvanize your strength. Sadly, in the end, even the most tremendous quantity of hard work does not always pay off in the way you intend. Whether it's a pandemic crushing your sports dreams, a fluke accident, or the realization that genetics are a ruthless assassin, willing to cut down people who work twice as hard as their competitor, need to understand it's going to be okay. Because in truth, it doesn't matter if you're the best in the world, country, state, or even town. It only matters if you're the best of yourself. The world needs more people who aren't constantly comparing themselves to others, feeling bad because they don't have or do the things they see when scrolling through pictures of celebrities on Facebook or Instagram. As long as you do everything you possibly can, you will be in a good spot, and there shouldn't be anything to feel bad about. This should bring peace and calm over you, for it isn't the end result that truly matters. It's the memories, the friendships, the laughs you had along the way that you will remember forever. Thank you.
To do something unconventional. Right now, I am metaphorically pulling back my own special symbolic bow and aiming my own important pretend arrow straight up at the sky and shooting it through an also apparently invisible sunroof. You might not be able to see it, but trust me, it's up there. And if I've learned anything about foreshadowing in high school, I can promise that that arrow is definitely coming back before the end of this speech. While we wait, I suppose I'll talk about why I just shot an arrow straight up into the sky. First things first, the arrow is not really an arrow, in case you couldn't tell. That arrow is what we'll call my hopes and dreams, my plans for the future, where I'm going in life. This speech is quite literal interpretation of not only where it's going, but where it's already been. In life, it is important to aim high, to aim for goals further away than we ever thought we could reach. This way, if our aim is off, or the strong winds of life blow our arrow of hope off course, we still hit something. At the beginning of our high school journey, each and every single one of us unknowingly shot our own arrow without being able to see exactly what lay ahead for it. Some things hurt our little arrow's course, an especially difficult math class, a problem with peers, a worldwide pandemic. At times, it felt like our arrows of hope and dreams might fall right out of the sky, preventing us from standing here today. Luckily, there were even more things that helped lift our arrow up. A particularly helpful teacher, a great new friend, a supportive community. Despite the vastly different courses our arrows have taken, our aim must have been quite good, as they have landed here today. They have landed at the target each of us aimed towards at the beginning of freshman year, graduation. Now, as we prepare to leave here today, the class of 2021 will be shooting yet another arrow. This time, however, we each have our own unique target. Maybe you've already pulled back your arrow and are aiming towards college to expand our knowledge, the military to protect our country, or emergency services to help serve our communities. Maybe you're aiming towards a loving partner, a career that makes you happy, or a place you've never been before. Maybe you're aiming at something else entirely. No matter where you're aiming, I hope that your aim is high, and there are plenty of people to help guide your arrow along the way. Hey, I bet by now my own arrow should be returning, the one from the beginning of this speech, the moment you've all been waiting for. After all this inspirational talk, I can't wait to see just how far it went. And, it just landed. You guys can't see it, and no, it's not because it's pretend, but because it didn't go anywhere. In fact, a little to the left, and I would have shot myself in the foot. That definitely would have made for a very awkward, but exciting speech. I guess now is a good time to mention that it's not enough to simply aim high. If that was the case, all of us could simply point our arrows straight up into the sky, hoping to hit something. Maybe you will, or stranger things have happened in the past year. But it's also possible your arrow will end in the same place it began. Instead of simply aiming towards the sky's limit, we must also aim forward. Just like during freshman year, none of us know exactly what lies ahead for us. Many of us are not even exactly sure what we're aiming towards right now, and that's okay. It's okay not to know exactly what our goal is right now, as long as our arrow keeps moving forward. While we should all be proud to be standing here today, we should also want to see everything that lies ahead, because each and every single one of us has the opportunity to be a part of something great. From the simple joys of a sunny day and seeing a smile on a new person's face, to the adventures of starting a family or trying something new, to the monumental accomplishments of colonizing the moon and Mars in our lifetime, there is so much to be excited about. So, as we all pull back our arrows to move towards our new journeys, I would like to congratulate my fellow classmates of the class of 2021 for their good aim. Thank all of you who have helped lift our arrows along the way, and I sincerely hope we will all continue to not only aim high, but aim forward. Thank you.
It is a real pleasure to be here to discuss with you one of this city's favorite educators. Today's recipient of the Dr. Patricia Ames Distinguished Teacher of the Year Award understands that educators are in the people business. Charlie Bingham's approach has always been about supporting every student. Mr. Bingham teaches more than half of all of Morse High School. He forms lasting relationships, meets the students where they are, and makes them better. And while all that's true, you may be saying to yourself, are we really going to call Mr. Bingham distinguished? I mean, he looks great today. But today at work, he usually looks like a toddler dressed to go to the playground. And while that may be true, but if I may say, let's look at the data. Since Mr. Bingham was hired at Morse as a special education teacher in 2000, his smile, booming voice, and presence has been a part of the Morse High framework. He was pressed into service as Morse's physical education teacher in January 2002, after a new hire learned that the job was more than just rolling a ball out to eager and well-behaved children. That man left the job after 4 months. Our man Bing has thrived in the position for nearly 20 years. That's correct. Now imagine for a moment being a PE teacher. Imagine being yelled at by a 15-year-old whose efforts to serve went in when you clearly saw that it didn't. Imagine doing 20 years in a concrete petri dish that we so lovingly call it. I have been in awe watching Charlie Bingham's enthusiasm and warmth as he greets the same kid who was just yelling at him with a, "Oh, hey, wingnut," and a smile that tells the kid that he's not only forgiven, but he's important. That is what being a distinguished educator means. Knowing when to pick battles and knowing the power of warmth. Charlie Bingham has more than earned his place on the Mount Rushmore of Bath PE teachers. We've all shaken our heads in amazement at the never-failing energy of Linda Levesque. Many of my era remember Levesque's partner in crime, the very classy, warm, and involved Ed Gray, who, like Mr. Bingham, spent years as a member of the Morse High coaching staff in football. And I am sure that I am not alone to have felt the sting of a Mr. Burnham dodgeball at Bath Junior High. Charlie Bingham has more than lived up to these standards, and he still shows up to school every day, even during hunting season. Shoot, he went to project graduation last Saturday. He helped with marching practice. Charlie's years of hard work have resulted in countless events that are assumed to have just come together naturally. He's been an integral part of more events than I could mention, or you could maybe consider. Mr. Bingham earned a master's degree in special education at Simmons College and worked as a case manager in Greater Lynn Mental Health in Massachusetts. He has never stopped offering a hand and infinite patience to those who need it. Our unified sports program at Morse wins awards and accolades, but most important, changes lives. If you've ever seen a unified game, you've seen moments between athletes that simply did not happen a few years ago. Hundreds of moments of smiles, sports, cheers, dancing, joy that Charlie Bingham envisioned to be possible and then manifested with his efforts. Those smiles, those moments, you did that, Charlie. You did that. Distinguished? Yeah, I think so. To the class of 2021, you've had a role model, and I hope you've seen him. So please, Sunshine, Smiley, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Reed and Reed, and the rest of you chuckleheads and wingnuts, you better please join me in welcoming to the lectern this year's Dr. Patricia Ames Distinguished Teacher of the Year, Mr. Charlie Bingham.
Thank you. I would like to thank Mr. Stan for those kind words. I would also like to thank my wonderful daughters, Grace and Elizabeth, for putting up with me and taking time out of their lives to do some of the things I do for school. Also, my mother, stepfather, and aunt for always being supportive, kind-hearted. My work wife, Becky, for putting up with my shenanigans. Lastly, I'd like to thank my wife for being patient, kind, and forgiving. Graduation has never been one of my favorite days. I have to listen to speeches, say goodbye to another group of young people that I have grown fond of, and I have to wear pants. It's even worse this year since I have to watch my own child graduate, give a speech, and then I have to say your names correctly. Let me apologize in advance for the pronunciation of your names. I hope you've all made the most of your time at Morse. I have to say I really love Morse High School. I never even graduated from here, but it's given me quite an education. Miss Leck used to say, I don't go to work every day, I go to school. She was so right. Every day is an education here at 826. As adults, we learn every day from our students. We have all heard the saying, do what you love and love what you do. As teachers, we need to have a passion for our discipline and what we teach. But our curriculum is the least important part of our education system. It's you, the student. As a child, my life was not always easy, nor was school. I came from a divorced family. My father was an alcoholic and used drugs. Reading was always difficult and still is to this day. When I got to high school, things started to change. I found athletics and started to realize how important education really was. I was still in some special education classes, and my education was never easy, but I had teachers and coaches that cared for me. I was not the best athlete, and I certainly was not the best student. It was a struggle, but I completed a challenge I did not know I could accomplish. I know today is not about me, it is about you and your education. I tell you this story because I always thought I had a tough upbringing with a lot of challenges until I listened to some of your stories. My life does not even come close to the hardships and tragedies some of you have gone through. The death of a family member, cancer, homelessness, battles with substance abuse, depression, food insecurity, COVID, and bright space. The best part of education for Morse is not the curriculum or the new building, although that air conditioner came in really handy this last week. It is about the people that makes Morse like no other. One of the most important things I've learned in education and in life is how you will react to adversity defines who you are. When things go wrong, who do you blame? Other people, or you take responsibility and try to make changes necessary to fix the problem or situation you're in? Realize that you all have your own stories and issues, and a lot of you have already been through so much at such a young age. The best skills to have you help you through this life is resilience, empathy, and understanding that you are not alone in this struggle. Because you are a graduate today, you must realize that you might not always like what we have said or done as adults here at Morse High School, but we did it because we thought it was the best thing for you in the long run. I'd like to share a quote that has been very helpful to me, and the author is unknown. Never let the experiences of your past bring harm to your future. Remember, your past can't be altered, and your future doesn't deserve the punishment. It's hard, but just let it go. And finally, never forget you are a shipbuilder, and you always have a home and people that care about you here at 826. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life and part of my education. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Nearly every year since 1980, Morse High School's School Community Liaison Council has given the Mainsail Award to individuals who have made outstanding contributions to benefit the youth of the Greater Bath community. Normally, this award is given during a special assembly in Montgomery Theater, but this year had other plans. It almost seems fitting, however, that we are giving this award today, as these two recipients have been active in our community for decades, and perhaps they have touched your lives too. She taught first grade in our district for 20 years and was an active volunteer for Mid-Coast Literacy. After retirement, she traveled not only in the Bath area, but also to other Mid-Coast communities to meet with parents in their own homes and to help them with their reading skills. She was able to foster a love of books and reading in these homes and to help those parents better support their own children as they learn to read. Her nominators described her as warm, caring, dedicated, thoughtful, and of high moral character. He taught in our district for 31 years, but may be best recognized for his contributions as a coach, which continued well into retirement. He started the soccer program at Morse in 1983, but his coaching resume at the high school and middle school levels has also included basketball, softball, and lacrosse. He has received numerous honors and awards and even has a coach's award, now named for him at Morse High School. In addition, he has been active in fundraising for boosters and has offered free coaching clinics and summer programs for our youth. His nominators used words like integrity, compassionate, phenomenal role model, cherished, and a friend to all.
Together, this couple has been giving their gifts to both youth and adults in Bath for decades, all while maintaining a strong marriage for over 50 years and raising 3 children of their own. We are grateful for their commitment to this community, and we thank them for all they have done and continue to do for us. Please join me in congratulating the 2021 Mainsail recipients, June and David Dorian.
One of the best years I had coaching basketball was at that school over there called the middle school with Charles Bingham. I couldn't wait to go to practice. We had a blast. And also, you guys and gals will also be thrilled with how this next speech transpires. You will love June, and you will love me. Here we go. June and I thank SCLC for this recognition and honor, and it is a great honor. Almost 50 years ago, we moved from Durham, a move we have never regretted. It has brought us great friends and wonderful memories. We had the pleasure and privilege of teaching your children for so many years. But it was something we can honestly say was a labor of love. After we retired, we both, as it turns out, continued to volunteer. Whether it was at our church, our sports teams, or with community efforts. It is just something that we enjoy doing. To the graduating class of 2021, both June and I wish the best in your futures, and again, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Varney, principal of Morse High School. It is my pleasure to confirm that all of the seniors in front of me today have fulfilled Morse High School's graduation requirements, or the state of Maine requirements for a high school diploma. And with no further ado, I'd like to award some diplomas.
Caleb Richard Avery. Connor Evan Freeman. Julia Grace Baker. Brenton Charles Cahill. Sydney Taylor Barr. Sarah Marie Staven. Helen Ada Burlsman. Nina Lane Powers. Wade Garrett Radford. Grace Patricia Bingham. Delia Rose Lamar. Benjamin David Brewer. Isaac Abraham Sinclair. Julian Christian Anderson. Kate Allison Silazar Aravella. Caitlin Nicole Anderson. Sophia Alexandra Mason. Brom Richard Cuff. Gage Christian Crabtree. Maxon James Brochu. Lucas John Wemett. Elizabeth Halstead Broom. Althea Ann Rogness. Alicia Rose Burns. Dylan Thomas Orr. Chelsea Erica Hines. Kyla Elizabeth Malcolm. Kaylee Elizabeth Garland. Joshua Scott Haycock. Chantel Marie Gauthier. Kaylienda Jamie Rose Sautel. Brooke Elizabeth Coolis. Mary Jean La Rochelle. Shiloh Anne-Marie Fisher. Theron Ross Layton. Hannah Mackenzie Gates. Bowden David Gould. Alexander Cole Gomez. Caden Jaheem Goodman. Kylie Jean Brennan. Nathan Alexander Molyneux. Haley Cora Johnson. Abigail Teresa Carpenter. Noah Wesley Adams. Ivan Franklin Wolf.
Can't see through you in the maroon up there.
Mason Wallace Savory. Ty Stewart Noble. Alexandria Lynn Nickerson. Julia Anne-Marie Goddard. Jacob Everett Lowry. Gavin Scott Phillips. Kiana Ebony Moore. Aaron David Landell. Michelle Raylene Moody. Ashley Nicole Sloan. Connor Aaron McNish. Aiden Glenn Pryor. Owen Samuel Nickerson. Mason Andrew Small. Aurora Soleil Rock. Alana Getzel Sinclair. William Robert Riley. Kieran Moreau Wright. Dylan Todd DeMerchant. Isabella Grace Short Galuza. Honora June Rice. Mark Robert Warner. Dylan Leo Potter. Alex Leo Potter.
Kathleen Leora Card. Acadia Montgomery Morse. Tanner McDonald Hennon. Evan Lothar Willards. Caden Ray Denslow. Wiley Garnett Jacobs. Megan Elizabeth Clifford. Oscar Prescott Hennon. Avery Worcester Smith. Liam David Scanlon. John Zenzen Russell. Logan Cale McConaughey. Robert David Reed. Paul Thomas Tuttle. Hannah Marie Bailey. Thomas Reginald Reed. Isaiah Paul Genthner. Gabriel Joseph Croto. Michaela Casey Morton Elizabeth Carrollton. Adria Faith Vaughn. Dylan Ann Phoenix. Elijah Hartley Timothy Lind. Avi Soslavsky. Aria Madeline Casada. Cameron Robert Dunlop. Joshua Connor Johnson. Caitlin Marie Bradford. Courtney Ellen Nicolino. Kaylee Ann Keenan. Mark Ryan Giggy Jr. Destiny Lynn Bradford. Courtney Lynn Boucher. Chelsea Dawn Boucher. Phoenix Ezra Marcel Merrill Pye. Matthew Ramsey Dowdy. Isaiah Curtis Allen. Adam Kenneth Cole. Alexandria Nicole Poland. Megan Adele Harper. Angeli Teresa Lagasse.
John Douglas Hall.
What happened? Did it just die?
Camera did.
The camera was plugged in. I don't know what happened. I think something shorted. I don't see. Oh, now there's audio.